We talk all the time about justice, about fairness. Every religion preaches about treating others justly. The most plaintive cry of a little kid to an adult is, "But it's not fair." Even a dog knows and objects when its packmate gets something it doesn't. We know what it looks like for circumstances to be equitable, and we all say we want that. So what are we doing to make it happen? The ability to understand what's fair and what's not is found primarily in species that form bonds outside of their families and their mates. Highly social crows seek out equity, but macaws, which outside of when they have hatchlings in the nest, live their whole lives with just their mates, do not, even though they're similarly intelligent. Dr. Sarah Brosnan has researched intensively in the area of animal responses to inequity and theorizes that the idea of equity exists due to connection to and cooperation with the group. So if fairness and justice are values that prioritize our connection to others, why in this world are we accepting a system that cuts people off from kin and community and then has the nerve to call it justice? That's not right, y'all. One of my favorite figures, spiritually speaking, when we're talking about justice, is the Irish goddess Brigid in her aspect of Brig Ambui. Brigid of the Cowless is what that means. In ancient Ireland, wealth was measured in the number of cattle you owned. And the cowless ones were not only completely without any cows of their own, they were also so low on the social ladder that if they were captured in battle, not a single cow would be paid in ransom to bring them home. And she was their protector and their advocate. If they had to resort to banditry and robbery in order to survive, she was the one who took responsibility for bringing them back into the community. In one of her stories, which was later rewritten to feature the Irish Saint Brigid of Kildare, she went to the King of Leinster, asked him for a piece of land that these men could live on, so they'd have a home, so that they would own something. And this wealthy king laughed in her face and tried to send her away. So she asked him again, "Give me something." And he said, "No, I'm not giving you anything for these men." So finally she said, "Give me just the amount of land that my cloak will cover." And she stretched out her cloak and stretched and stretched and stretched, and it covered an entire valley. This king starts panicking. "What are you doing? I said you could have what the cloak would cover. I didn't know it would cover this much." She said, "You know what? This is what these men need. And if you keep being stingy with me, I'll take every bit of land you've got. Mess with me." And because he had agreed to this, he had to give it to them. Of course, in the later Christian version, it was to build a convent rather than to give it to the poor, but this is why we stick with the original versions of the story. Justice and power are opposing forces, and as people of faith, we know which side we belong on. When Marx said that religion was the opiate of the masses, he didn't mean that religion was inherently toxic and bad. Remember, in those days, opiates were the only reliable pain medicine there was, basically. But much like opiates, the role of religion is to provide relief to people who are in pain. And it's dangerous in the hands of people who are just messing around. Our job is to stand up to the violent systems designed to harm members of the community and protect each other from that pain. A just society is possible, but only if we put in the work and prioritize the humanity of others over the enforcement of arbitrary rules that aren't really hurting anybody either way. Power seeks to punish and isolate and destroy. Our job is to seek out justice and to connect and to rebuild. And that is where our focus needs to be.